Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, the Three Topics Gamer, here to give you another episode of my weekly Q&A show, titled People's Questions, episode 401. We got a pretty standard episode today. It's probably going to be a bit short because we only have about 4 questions, and they're really nothing too out of the ordinary, except maybe the last 2. That might be a little bit extensive. But before I get into the main 4 questions, I would just like to thank everyone that sent in your questions that I will be answering either in this video or the comment section of the last video. And if you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new to the channel, because every subscription really does matter and count. So starting off with the first question, basically coming from Brady Bourke. And he wants to know, what are my favorite hand-to-hand combat fights? Well, I guess just to throw some off the top of my head, I guess, I don't know, I think the Vega versus Chun-Li fight from Street Fighter 2 movie, that stands out. Neo versus Agent Smith in the Matrix. Anything that's got Jet Li in it, because I'm more of a Jet Li fan than a Bruce Lee fan. I think like the last couple of fights in the movie The Protector, starring Tony Jaa, for those of you who know who that is. Yeah, it was just a number of hand-to-hand fights that were in the Raid and the Raid 2. Those two had incredible hand-to-hand fight scenes. Yeah, so those just a number of them that just, you know, I really enjoy watching off the top of my head. Next question comes from, okay, this one's a little bit confusing, but it comes from the Batman of Neo Gotham, and you want to know, with the amount of PlayStation 4 exclusive games that were released this year, which ones would you consider to put in my top 5 games of 2019 list? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you must have missed it, but I already uploaded that. So, yeah. I mean, if we're talking about top 5, the only one that made it into the technically the top 5 would be Death Stranding, and that took the number, I believe that took the number 5 spot. There were 4 games I played this year that weren't exclusive games that I thought were, that I liked and enjoyed more than Death Stranding. So, yeah, so I'm guessing this question came a little bit late, maybe before I uploaded that video. So, yeah, just to clarify. Next question comes from, I think you're new. I apologize if you're not, but yeah, this name looks good to me. And your name goes by Trooper XD Extreme, awesome name. And you want to know, do I have any tips for people making their own versus series? Sure. Okay. Number 1, pick a matchup that you personally enjoy and you actually have interest in, but make sure it's kind of balanced. You never want to pick something that's a little bit too obvious on one side or another. I would say for people starting, pick characters that you know, and not just like in terms of research that you actually have history with that character. Most of the matches that I did like in the first few seasons were characters I already knew. I think it wasn't until Season 4, I did a matchup with a character who I knew nothing about, so I went in blind. But other than that, you need to know about this. You need to know a good amount about this character before using them. And then you do research, and that expands your own knowledge. Because when you're scripting and you're breaking your analysis down, people are going to know whether you know what you're talking about or not. And you need to convince them of that. So like, when I speak, although I'm reading from a script, I'm writing in a way that, you know, this is clearly a guy who knows what he's talking about. And regardless of your outcome, regardless of what verdicts or what edges you give, always back up your facts and say, well, I believe this person has the advantage. These are the reasons why. But the most important thing is expect criticism and stand by your verdicts. Trust me, you're going to have people agree with you, and you're going to have people that are going to be against you. The whole point is, this is about debating. Disagreeing is the whole point of a versus series or a debate video. So don't take it too personally. I personally don't like attacks. Like, I've had plenty of people that have come at like some of my more popular matchups, and they've said, well, I disagree, I think this other person win, and they gave out their reasons. And that's perfectly fine. So, again, pick characters that you know, make sure it's a matchup that makes sense, back up your facts, and stand by your verdicts. I think that's the best type of advice that I could give anyone who's looking to start. And trust me, it's going to be difficult. So if you don't expect to get like 10,000 views for your first video. You need to keep going, and you need to show people that this is something you really want to do. And if there's one bit of advice I can give you that, I don't even think most people that I know that do versus series don't typically do. Something I always did was, if you have the time, or if you can make time, always schedule your matchups. So you let your viewers know when your next matchup is coming. I mean, that's something I know I only did, and I guess Death Battle did recently. They didn't do that back in the old days, but yeah, that helps, because that allows the people who see this video, if they like it, they know when to come back. So yeah, I think that's the best amount of advice that I can give for anyone who's looking to start. And the last question of the episode comes from Blaring C89, and you want to know, what are my thoughts on the whole Children Online Private Protection Act, so the COPA situation. From a practical viewpoint, I can kind of understand where they're coming from about the whole, we don't want to collect data from children, and this was an act that was done back in the 90s, and so everyone has to basically illustrate exactly what is for kids and what is not. The problem is that they're not exactly clear. I wish there was examples of them kind of explaining what is for kids and what is not for kids. And I think the whole fine thing is ridiculous, because here's my concern. For my personal channel, I've already have it pretty much all throughout saying that this is not for kids. However, my biggest concern is for some of you guys that don't even know about this, but some of my most popular videos, which have literally millions and millions of views, are my Just Dance videos that I did back in 2014. Those have 10, or I think my most popular video has well over 30 million views. Because it's a Just Dance video of me just dancing to something like Ghostbusters, I'm not sure if that should be just for kids, and I don't want to be fined for that, or I don't want to give them the ability to just erase all my content, because that is well over 1,000 videos and 8 years of work of my life without warning. And I think the fees are just ridiculous for someone making an honest mistake, just because they haven't really given us clarity as for exactly what is for kids and what is not. Some people might make something that kids will like, but technically we're supposed to say that it isn't for them, and that's not going to stop them from seeing it. So it's a little bit cryptic. So I think that's kind of how I feel in the whole situation thing. From a practical standpoint, I understand why they're doing it, but I think that they could have made this bowl a little bit easier if they had just given us more information and clarified exactly what type of content is for kids and what is not. That is my biggest complaint. And with that, those are the questions that I have received, or basically the ones that could make it into the video. So I want to thank everyone for sending your questions in. If you have any more questions you'd like me to answer in next week's episode, be sure to type them in the comments down below, but make sure you get them into me roughly before Wednesday of noon, before I start filming the next episode. And before I close and head out, I would just like to ask you guys, since it is Friday and the Game Awards were last night, what were your thoughts on the Game Awards? Do you think the winners were fair? Do you think people were robbed? Share your thoughts with me and everyone else also in the comments down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.